family. How y'all doing? Welcome to Mantle Motivations podcast. It is I, your host, Dominique Bishop. This is the last and final episode, episode 20 of season one. Not the entire Mantle Motivations podcast. No, I have plenty more where this came from. All right. Again, like I said in the last episode, I am going to be reorganizing, revamping, and recentering and getting some things together for season two. It might drop in January, it might not, but I'm gonna be honest. I've been doing this since I believe June. I need a bit of a break, and holidays are coming up. Thanksgiving is tomorrow, so happy early Giving Thanks Day to you all. I pray that you all have a blessed holiday and a holiday season with your families, that it be safe and that it be filled with so much love and so much joy and so much peace. Because I know mine will be. I'm going to take me a little bit of a vacation, and we're going to still be finishing up remodeling this home. But yeah, it's a lot that I have going on right now. So I do need to take a step back from the podcasting just for a little while to take care of some personal things. And like I said, regrouping and reorganizing some things and getting ready for season two. I didn't want season two to drop in January. It might not. The good thing about this being my podcast is that I can do what I want to it when I want to it and how I want to do it. Right? That makes sense, right? So that's what I'm doing. I'm taking my time. I am learning to give myself grace because I'm harder on myself than anybody else. And I'm like, I got to do this. I got to do this. When in actuality, I need to just stop. What I tell y'all to do all the time, take a deep breath, and just be. Just be in the moment and just allow things to happen in its own way, right? So I don't have to rush everything. I don't have to always get everything done right here, right now, at this very moment. So that's what season two is going to be about when it comes. So you all will know when it comes. I will definitely let you know. I'll make some videos. I'm not going to be stepping back from social media completely. I'm still going to be making some videos on TikTok and Instagram, things like that. You're still going to see my face. You're still going to hear my voice. It's just that the actual podcast episodes I'm gonna take a break from. But I might pop on here from time to time just to, do a little something, something. Unfortunately, couldn't get my wife on the last episode. It's all right. But things just got a little busy. That's all. But who knows? We might pop back on here. She might pop back on here in December or something. Who knows? But today, I want to get into a subject that is dear to my heart. This is something that I've been thinking about for a little while now. And if you've been watching some of my TikTok and Instagram videos, things that I've posted on Facebook, I've kind of been talking about, um, just starting things and getting things together and being the person to do it, right? Um, Making a change in your life. So, this particular podcast episode is talking about trailblazing with a purpose and breaking generational curses and stepping out on faith. I know it's hard to be different sometimes. It's hard to be the first one to do anything. It's hard to step out on faith. All that stuff is hard. I understand. I've been in that position, right? And some of you are listening are currently in that position or going through things where you're the first to do this in your family, or the first to do this in your friend group, or first to do this, among the other community, whatever community that you're in. It happens to us, and a lot of times also with trailblazing, more so with this particular subject, I want to talk about the generational curses part because, we go through so many things in our family and we see so many cycles and things in our family, and then it gets to a certain point where it's like, okay, this stops now. I can't let this go on to the next generation. Like, it has to stop with me. Like, I'm not going to allow what happened to my mom or what happened to my dad or what happened to my grandparents or what happened to their parents to happen to me as well. Right. So that's what this podcast particular episode is focusing on. Right. So we're going to go ahead and get right into it. Um, I got my notes here on the side, so I'm gonna be looking at the camera, looking back and forth. You see my eyes moving around a lot. But first off, let's talk about what is an actual trailblazer, like an actual real life trailblazer. A trailblazer is someone who's the first to do something, right? Whether it's marking a new path through the woods, which is an actual version of a trailblazer, um, or discovering a cure for cancer. A literal trailblazer is someone who makes marks and or trails in the wilderness, right? So think about it. Think of how the woods look, okay? Think of how the forest looks, right? Think about the individual or group of people that have to come in and they say they make up a plan and say, all right, we're gonna need a road right here, or we need to make a pathway right here. And right now, all you're seeing is tall grass, weeds, big old trees, right? There's everything blocking your way. Excuse me. And there's no possible way for anybody to walk through or for any car to drive through or anything like that. So the trailblazer's job is to forge a path through all of that. So they got to go in and get to work. What are they doing? They're cutting down the grass, they're cutting down the trees, right? They are laying pavement, right? So they, you think about a forest, and think about the trees, and you think about all of the overgrown um, uh, lawns and everything, and what it may look like. I mean, a wild natural forest, right? So a trailblazer is going in there and tearing all of that down to lay pavement, to make new ground, right? Think about all of the construction that's happening around. I know out where I'm at, I see new developments come up all the time. New townhomes, new housing communities, new apartments, things like that. And it goes from being this big, beautiful wooded area to now it's just all flat land, right? And think how much time that takes to go in there and to bulldoze and dig out all the grass, all the roots, all of the trees, and move all that away. That's a lot of work, right? It kind of sucks on one end because it's taking away some of our greenery. But if you're just thinking about the process of what we're talking about now, what's actually happening, but the process of it, of all that tearing down and moving things out of the way. Well, when you think about it in life, that's also what a trailblazer is. They're busting down doors. They're breaking through glass ceilings. They're forging a new way that has not been there before. So, what are we, or who are we talking about? Or who are we thinking about when we think about trailblazers? Some examples, just real quick. You might think about Malcolm X. You might think about somebody like Dr. King and those who assisted in the civil rights movement, right? You might talk about something people more recently like the Obamas or Kamala Harris or um, other figures like Beyonce, Prince, Lady Gaga, whoever you look up to that's an artist or a scientist or what have you that has done amazing feats that no one else has done before, right? So these are trailblazers. These are people that are forging new lanes for other people to go through. They're doing things that have never been done before. And the ultimate trailblazer that I can think of is Jesus Christ himself. I mean, what more could you ask for out of a trailblazer? If you think about it, Jesus came in, And I mean, totally, totally turn things upside down. How the way people thought, right? How the way people acted. He came and he was performing miracles and doing things that people had never seen before. He was raising people from the dead, talking about Lazarus, and other things. And he was performing miracles and he was turning water into wine. And, you know, it was so much that Jesus Christ was doing. I mean, he turned the world upside down, literally, right? So he was an amazing trailblazer. So when you think about trailblazers, we're thinking about people, individuals, entities like this came in there and totally and completely changed things. And just like those examples of trailblazers, you can also be a trailblazer. It may not be this grandiose, dramatic gesture, but it's going to be something that's going to change your life and change your family's life, or it's going to change the direction of how your family's generations go here on out, from um, from here on out, right? It's a situation where the buck stops with you and nowhere else. So, with this particular subject, like I said, I want to focus on trailblazing in the family circle. So, first off, you know that stepping on your own um, and being the first to do anything within your community can make you feel lonely and isolated. Let's just be real. Because you're the first to do it, right? When you're the first to do something in your family, you don't have any other examples, the ones closest to you. Let's say, for example, you're the first one to ever go to college in your family. No one else in your family went to college or even may have applied for college. You probably only have, high school graduates or maybe high school dropouts. Maybe nobody applied themselves to go to college. So they probably wouldn't even know the process of how to get you into college. So now you're kind of out here on your own. You're like, I want to go to college. I want to be the first one in my family to go to college. I need to do this, right? This is something that I want to do for myself. My mom didn't do it. My dad didn't do it. My uncles and them didn't do it. My grandma and them didn't do it. Whoever. I want to be the first one in my family to go to college, and I want to graduate, right? So now you're feeling isolated and you're feeling a little lonely because it's like no one in my family has done this. So what do I do? Right? So you need to be around other people, other like minded people like yourself that want to do that as well. But check this out. Here's a scripture for those of you who feel like that you're traveling alone. It says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future." And that's from Jeremiah 29:11. Um, when we're doing things on our own, it's important for us to dig deep. And we have to place our faith in God because He knows everything and He's controlling it all. He was the one that placed it in your heart to have that desire to want to go to college or to do that thing that's going to break the generational curse. So, one thing that I love to say, I'm sure you probably heard me say before, where God guides, He provides. If He's guiding you into a place of doing things differently, doing things a different way, He's going to provide for you the resources that you need as well, right? So He's not just going to lead you out and lead you astray into nowhere. No, He's going to lead you in a place where there are also resources there available for you. So you may feel alone, but you're not going to be alone because God's going to be with you. Another thing that you always have to remember is that there's nothing new under the sun. The venture or the idea or the concept of what you want to do may be new to you, but it's not new to God, right? He's dealt with this many times before with many other people. You're not the first one ever in your family or out of other families that wants to go to college and graduate. There are plenty of other people who have been the first in their family to want to go to college and graduate. There have been so many other people in their families that have been the first to do anything. There's a whole generation of people that have been the first in their family to do certain things. So you're not alone, right? And you're not the first one that God is dealing with about this. It's just new to you. Trust me, it's not new to him, but it's new to you. And I know new things can be scary, and that's okay. But again, you got to trust and have faith in God. So, understanding the call to being a trailblazer. All right. So, what are we talking about exactly? Again, we're talking about being the first to do things, right? I use the example of going to college and graduating. Uh, it's also being the first person in your family to own a business, or being the first one to own a home, or being the first millionaire in your family, right? You have those aspirations or those dreams. Also, including other important aspects like being the first to not be an addict or alcoholic in your family, right? Breaking the cycle of abuse in your family. All these things that I mentioned, as we know, are things that can be passed down from generations to generation until one person recognizes what is happening and decides to say, hey, I want to make a change. I want to be the one that stops this generational curse. I don't want to be an alcoholic like my mom or dad. I don't want to be an abuser like what I saw growing up at home, right? The buck stops with me. A perfect example of this, I love this, is because I'm going to use my wife and I for an example. You know, I'll speak more so on me, but I know I didn't grow up in a necessarily two-parent household, right? My mom and dad were together. They never were married, but my mom and dad were together. And then my dad, he left when I was younger. But growing up, it was always my dad was over here, mom was over here. We had this conversation where what we saw growing up was basically what we didn't want in our marriage or in our household. So we made a decision to make sure to work at any and everything, every aspect of our marriage, because we wanted it to be whole. We wanted it to be healthy, right? We eventually want to have children, and we want our children to see what it's like to be in a two-parent household, a two-parent, whole, healthy, loving, and affectionate household. So we have to do the work because I didn't really have the best examples growing up of relationships. I saw some things, and I saw some things in my family. It's funny because when you're a child, you're so innocent, and you just see everybody as being so perfect, you know. But when you get older, the veil kind of leaves your eyes, and you start seeing people for who they actually are, or you start noticing things that you would not have noticed when you were a kid. You're thinking like an adult now, so you're seeing different aspects in different relationships, and you're like, I don't want that in my marriage, or I definitely don't want that in my marriage, or I don't want that in my marriage. Oh, I definitely don't want my marriage to be like that. You get what I mean? So that's what we were pulling from. We were pulling from what we had seen, and what we saw, and what we were surrounded by growing up, and was like, okay, there were some good examples mixed in there, but a lot weren't good examples. So we knew exactly what we didn't want our relationship to be, what our marriage to be. So we said, hey, look, we're going to be the ones to start it out right. We're going to be the ones to have that happy, healthy, loving marriage. And when we have children, they're going to grow up in a home seeing two parents loving one another the way that they should. So, that, my friends, is a great example. One of many others, of course, that we talked about, but that is a great example of what it means to want to be the ones to break a generational cycle, right? Um, and then you take it from there. So let's talk about the emphasis of the role of faith in breaking cycles, right? Favorite scripture, Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Christ which strengthens me. It's something you're gonna have to hold on to when you're trying to break through those cycles. Because when I tell you it's gonna be rough, it's gonna be rough. When I tell you marriage is not for the faint of heart, and I'm just going back to the example that I just gave you about the decision that my wife and I made. Um, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. We've been to counseling together. We worked out issues. Anything that is worth having truly is worth fighting for. When you truly want something, you're gonna fight for it. You're gonna fight for it. If you truly want to go to college and graduate, you're gonna fight for it. You're gonna find a way. If you truly want to be a millionaire, you're going to figure out how to be a millionaire. If you truly want to own that home, you're going to figure out how to own that home. Where there's a will, there is definitely a way. And again, going back to the scripture, I can do all things through Christ which strengthens me, right? Where there's a will, there's a way. If you believe it, you can achieve it. If you can see it and hear, it can happen on the outside. You can turn your dreams into reality by pushing forward and doing the work. So let's talk about recognizing the call. All right. So I've spoken about this before in another podcast when I was talking about how I felt, God was speaking to me. You feel kind of like this tugging or this pull or this earnest like sensation. It could be something that you thinking about it before you go to bed at night. You dream about it. You wake up in the morning and you're thinking about it. You're thinking about it all day throughout the day. It's like no matter what you're doing or no matter what you're going through, you're thinking about this thing, right? And it's just on you. And sometimes God will place some on your spirit and he will not let you or let it up until you start working on it, until you get into it. And the longer you wait to try to work on that thing, the longer you wait to get into it, the heavier that burden is going to start to feel because it's like he's giving you a present. He's like, here, this is what I want you to do. I'm placing this in your spirit. I'm telling you that this is what I need you to do because there's a generational curse. So there's something in your family that needs to be broken, and you're going to be the one to break it. It's going to be you. It's got to be you. It's been ordained to be you, right? And you're not doing anything about it. It's going to get heavier and heavier, and you're going to feel it. And what you need to do, start taking those small actions. If you don't know what to do, just ask God, God, lead me and guide me and tell me what it is I need to do in order to start breaking this generational curse or this cycle, right? I don't want to be an alcoholic like my dad, right? I want to go to college, right? Show me what website do I need to get on, or do I need to go to the library and look up some information, or can I go to my high school and get some help from a guidance counselor, or what can I do? God, speak to me and show me what to do, and He will. He will. When you recognize the call and when you recognize what it is that you need to do, and you begin to sit and you ask and you talk to him, he's going to talk back. He's going to lead you and guide you, and things will start falling into place. Things that you didn't even know or you didn't even think of to do can pop up in front of you, right? It's amazing how God works. I love the scripture from Isaiah 30 and 21 that says, whether you turn to the right or to the left, your ears will hear a voice behind you saying, this is the way, walk in it. When you are truly seeking God and asking Him, Lord, show me, you're praying, you're doing your meditation, and you're having a conversation with Him, and you say, I feel this call. And I feel this on me that I need to be the one to break the cycle. I need to take this step. Or I need to do this. Show me what I need to do. Give me that drive. Please, God, give me that drive so I can go ahead and do this and carry it out. I know you're not going to leave me astray. You wouldn't place this on my heart, or you wouldn't place this on me and just leave me blind. So lead me in the right direction. Show me what you want me to do. Speak to me, and I guarantee you, He will. Another thing I want to talk about with being a trailblazer, especially particularly with family and friends, it can take an emotional toll on you breaking toxic cycles. Navigating family and understanding resistance is key, because you being the first one to do anything, you're gonna get some opposition, right? You always get those people that, they support you when you're doing what they're doing. When you hanging out, let's say for example, you're hanging out with your friends or your family every Friday night, every Saturday night, y'all always going out, y'all always kicking, y'all always drinking, y'all always doing this, y'all always doing that. And it's destructive behavior. It's not getting you anywhere. It's putting you back in the same cycle that your aunts and your uncles and your mama and your grandma and all them was doing, right? It's nothing wrong with a kickback every now and again, but I mean, we got to meet up every weekend. We got to do this all the time. Every weekend we getting drunk, or every night we getting drunk. It's like, okay, I want to do something different. I want to branch out, right? There's other things that I can do in my life than just this. You can start off with small stuff. Let's say, for example, you want to work on getting a certification. That's going to help you advance you at your job that you're working at. Well, instead of going out and hanging out and doing this and doing that, say, you know what? Hey, this weekend I'm not gonna come out. Friday nights. I work all week, so Friday night I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna be on the computer. I'm working on getting this certification, right? And I like to say move in silence. That's just my type of thing, because I like to do stuff and just do it, because I don't feel like hearing people's mouths. I don't feel like hearing people's oppositions. And sometimes, people could genuinely be happy for you, but then you have those who are fake happy. And, sometimes it's hard to tell who's genuine and who's not. But if you want to tell people, you can. But at the same time, be prepared for the positive and the negative. You're gonna get the positive. Oh, good for you. That sound good. I hope you do it. You know what I mean? Congratulations. Go ahead, go after that goal, go after that dream. But then, like I said before, when you're around a group of people and y'all doing the same thing, everybody cool. But as soon as you get that one that try to be different, try to go the other route, or try to be better, it's like, oh, you think you better than us, huh? Oh, you think you this. Oh, you think you so that. It's like, no, it's not that. It's just, I want more out of life than just this. So when you start breaking away and start doing other things, this is when you're going to start to see who's truly for you and who's truly in your corner. People that are truly for you, people that are truly in your corner, even though you're the only one doing this, going the other route, they see you trying to get something better. It's like, good girl, good guy, go ahead, go get that. I'm proud of you. I'm happy for you. But then you're going to get that other person. Oh, you think you better than us, huh? Because you want to do this and you want to do that. That's all right. Be that way. Let them be negative. Let them be negative and let them stay in the same place that they're going to be at for years and years and years. And they're going to pass it down to their kids. And until somebody decides to stop the buck just like you did, it's going to continue to keep happening. That's on them. But you be the example that you want to be. And you break away. And you do your own thing. Another thing with breaking away, it's important to find your community. The thing about human beings is that we always like to feel a sense of belonging, with other people. That's just how we were made. That's just how we were formed. And you might be breaking off from that one group doing one thing, right? You're not going out partying, you're not doing all this wild stuff anymore. You're trying to break away because you want to have a different life. Well, start getting around other like minded people. right? And connect with them. Connect with other people like you and what you're trying to do. You're trying to get a certification. There might be a study group out there for that particular certification. There might be a message board or something. You can get on the internet and talk to other people about what it is that you need to do. Get around those people, right? Surround yourself with other like minded people. What they say, birds of a feather flock together. So surround yourself with other like minded people who are trying to do or reach goals that you're trying to reach as well. That's going to help you along the journey because it's going to also help you and reinforce you, right? And give you positive feedback because you know you're going to be on this side getting that negative feedback. So you need that to combat that and counteract that so you can keep moving forward. Second Timothy chapter 1 verse 7 says, "For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and a sound mind." I want to give you an example, a personal life example of myself stepping out on faith and doing something that I was scared of. So, fortunately for me, growing up, um, I wasn't the first to go to college in my family. For me, growing up wasn't about, it wasn't the question of, what are you doing when you graduate from high school? It was more so, what college are you going to? So it was kind of known at a young age that I was going to be going to college. It was just like, okay, what am I going to do? It was expected of me, right? But I wasn't sure because by the time I got to that age and I'm in high school, I knew that we didn't have the money for me to go to college. So I was unsure. Um, I had even waited until the last minute to like even start applying for colleges. Sometimes people start applying for college like junior year of high school, their beginning of their senior year of high school. I hadn't applied for anything. And it was so funny because I'm in high school with my friends and they're getting their acceptance letters or they're hearing back from schools and they're like, yeah, I applied to so and so and so and so and so and so. And I'm like, in my head, oh, that's dope. That's what's up. And I had like not applied anywhere because I just, I just didn't know where the money was going to come from. And it's crazy because I'd always had the dream of wanting to be a college athlete. And I had been playing basketball ever since I was in sixth grade. But when I got to high school, that all stopped my sophomore year in high school. Basketball just stopped. And a quick side note, I was taking AP English classes. It's like advanced placement college classes in high school. And I had gotten a C in my English class. My grandmother was an educator and she didn't play that. And she was like, well, maybe your extracurricular activities are, getting in the way of your studies. So no more basketball until you bring that grade up. That crushed me and that crushed my dreams, right? So my sophomore year, that fall season, I didn't play basketball. I missed the season. And in that time, it's not like I was the best basketball player in the world. I played on the freshman squad and I missed tryouts and everything for sophomore. And then you had to be on a team sophomore year in order to even qualify to be on JV or varsity, right? They needed to see you your sophomore year to see what you can do, and I missed sophomore year. Oh well. So here comes the spring season, and one of my friends walked up to me in class, and she was like, "Hey, I know you're not playing sports right now, but you can run, right?" I'm like, "Yeah." She was like, "You can kick a ball." I was like, "Yeah." She was like, "Why don't you try out for soccer?" I was like, "Soccer? Okay." I'd never played soccer before ever, but she's like, "Yeah, why don't you try out for soccer?" So again, this is the same sophomore year, but this is just the spring season. I hadn't told my grandma, I hadn't told my mama, nobody that I was going to try out for soccer. I was just going to do it just to see if I could. And I tried out and I made the team. So I'm playing soccer for a little while. And then finally my coach was like, hey, because I told him my situation. And he was like, hey, I didn't tell him that I hadn't told my family, but, I just told him, well, I'm not able to get all my gear and stuff right now. It's just gonna take me a little while longer. And he was okay with it. He was like, but you can't play. He was like, I'll let you practice, but I can't let you play in the game, actual game. I said, okay. And then finally he was like, hey, we're getting closer to, opening up the season. You gotta go get your stuff. So now I'm forced to go talk to my family, my mom, my grandma about me playing soccer. So of course I had to own up to her and tell her I had lied about some things because I was telling her I was doing other extracurricular activities. I never told her that I was doing sports. I never told her I was playing soccer. I told her I was doing other stuff like study hall and because I was already in student government and things like that. So I would tell her I was helping out with peer mediators or helping out with study hall and all that type of stuff, telling stories. So I had to face that. So thank goodness she wasn't mad, and thank goodness that she didn't tell me to stop. Um, she took me out and helped me get my gear, and I played soccer. But I said all that to say this: I played soccer my sophomore year, my junior year, and my senior year. So fast forward to senior year, I have no idea what we're gonna do for school because again, I knew we didn't have the money, right? And I was banking on being an all-star basketball player for college, and I wasn't playing basketball anymore, and I had no idea that you know I was going to be able to do it with soccer. So I'm like, I don't know. All of a sudden I got a phone call one night from a college, and it was a soccer coach, and he was like, yeah, I came to a couple of you guys' games, I saw you play, and we want to recruit you. So I was so excited. I called my grandma, let her know what was going on. We met up at the school. Long story short, I ended up getting a 4-year scholarship for playing soccer. So that worked out. I got to be a college athlete like I wanted to be. It wasn't necessarily D1, but it paid for my college tuition. So I said all that to say this, sometimes you just truly have to step out on faith. Like I truly had no idea what I was going to do senior year. And it was a big responsibility on me because I knew that, like I said, it was instilled in me from a kid, you're going to college. I knew I was going to college. I just didn't know what or how. But thank God that all of that worked out. And to God be the glory for that. And that's this one of many testimonies. And I'm so grateful for that. I'm so grateful that my grandmother was like, no, you can't play soccer. Because if she would have said no, that probably would not have been an opportunity for me to go to college. But because she didn't say no, because she allowed me to play, and it opened up doors for school, and she didn't have to pay not 1 cent. Right? I had scholarships and I had tuition reimbursement, all that beautiful stuff, thanks to being able to play soccer. So that was that was a great time in my life, and it was scary. It was scary because it was all last minute. I'm like, I got this scholarship right before I graduated high school. So, talk about having faith. I have faith down to the last minute, right? All right. So, now let's go back to finding community. Again, I want to talk about that real quick. So, iron sharpens iron. What I said earlier, birds of a feather flock together. So, what does that mean? It means surround yourself again with like minded individuals, other people who have the same drive and goals as you do. A perfect example of this is Jesus Christ and his disciples, right? He surrounded himself with people who believed like he did. Now, he taught them and he, you know, not necessarily molded them, but he led them and he guided them. But in the end, with the exception of maybe Judas, but he was ordained to do what he did. He was supposed to do that. Outside of that, him and Jesus and the disciples were thick as thieves, right? They were ironclad. You couldn't break them up. You couldn't tear them apart. They were what they were. And it's important to have a sense of community like that when you are a trailblazer or doing what you have to do, because having those people around you surrounding you and giving you that encouragement is going to build you up. Another thing is, um, it's important to find people who are doing things that you want to do. Let's say you want to be a writer or you want to be an author. Surround yourself with other writers. Surround yourself with someone who has written a book or written a couple books, right? You haven't written one yet and you want to. Be around somebody who has, or get in contact with somebody who has. They can give you pointers. You want to start a podcast, you've never done it before. Get with somebody who's started a podcast. You can hit me up. There's loads of people out here who have podcasts now, right? Start your own community. Be around other like minded people like yourself who have the same common goals. Be around people who have already obtained your goals in their life. If you see somebody, you say, for example, let's talk about being a millionaire. You know, you want to be a millionaire. You know, I want to do this, I want to do that. Um, I want to, be a millionaire, let's say in real estate, or I want to get into real estate investing and things like that. Well, start surrounding yourself around people in real estate, right? Learn from real estate brokers or learn from other realtors or learn from other realtor investors. Get around them, get in that group. You got to be around people who you are aspiring to be because it gives you a whole different view, right? It gives you a whole different view of what it is that you need to attain. If you've never been in that environment before, how do you truly know what it is that you need to get what you need? You get what I mean? So it's important to find someone who is already doing what you have a goal to do and approach them, right? Ask them questions. Tell them about your goals. And tell them what you're interested in doing, what you want to do. See if they're available to be your mentor. That's always good. It could be somebody that's close to you. It could be a spiritual leader. It could be a professor. It could be even your boss at work. Maybe you're looking to try to get a promotion, right? And it could be someone, a senior officer, someone who's been working there for quite some time. And you're like, hey, how can I get in a leadership position? I've been in this position for quite some time now. What are some things that I need to do to change about myself? It's okay to ask other people for advice. Don't ever be that person to where no one can give you advice and no one can talk to you. Always be open to wanting to learn more and to do more because when you're open to things, things will come to you. All right, so just a recap on what we talked about. We talked about being a trailblazer and we talked about, how lonely and isolated you can be. But we also talked about that it's good to be around a community of other like minded people like yourself. Being a trailblazer and breaking generational cycles is hard. It is hard work. Let's just be real. We're not going to skim around that. It's hard work. Um, but when you surround yourselves with other people like you who are doing the same thing, you can get that extra umph, right? You can get that extra wind beneath your wings to do what it is that you need to do to take yourself and take your family to the next level. You can be the one to change everything. It could be you. It could be you to change everything. I was just watching one of my favorite podcasts, Club Shay Shay, and he had Kiki Palmer on there. And, she's been in entertainment for a very long time, ever since she was a child. And you guys should check that out when you get a chance. But she also talked about how, you know, basically she had her family on her back, but she was the one that changed all of their lives. She had a conversation with her brother, and her brother was telling her basically, the Palmer name is, forever going to be infamous. You know, you have changed our lives forever. You have changed this family's lineage forever. It was you. It had to be you. You did an amazing job. So, in that same vein, it could be you. You could be the one to change your lineage. You could be the one, instead of staying on that same path that everybody else has been going on for generations and generations and generations. You could be the one to change it and break off and start a new lineage. Start things over. Bring more life, bring more hope to you and your family and the rest of your line to come. Think about that. You could be the one to change it all. Ain't that something? So go ahead and get to work. Do what you gotta do. So look, I thank y'all for tuning in. And I appreciate again the love and the feedback and everything that you all have given me in response, in comments, in likes and shares and subscribing. This has been a beautiful uh, back and forth. And like I said, I'm gonna be back with other podcasts. It's just right now I need to take a break. But you will continue to see me on social media. I'm gonna have my socials again in the bio so you guys can follow me, tag along, hit me up, write me a message, whatever it may be. But thank you. Thank you so much for being a part of Mantle Motivations Podcast Season 1. This has been amazing. This has been a beautiful journey, and I'm so glad that I was able to take it with y'all. Y'all know what I'm getting ready to say. You know your crown may be tilted, but never, ever let it fall. Peace and love.